The future to come in 20 to 30 years. Can it be predicted in the times of global uncertainty? How to map out the contours of the future so that they are more clear and bright. And what can be done by those who are today called the next generation?
How to make an idea a reality and find your meaning of life. Richard Dawkins, who is a great scientist, says that there is no meaning in life. But the philosophy is that we make our own meaning. I think that if I lose science, I will not have any reason to live qualitatively. There is such an expression saying that ideas are all real. If they did not come to us, if we did not even think about them, then they would not be real. Everything that comes to us can come true, even the most fantastic things. I am 23 years old. I grew up in the village named Nikitinka, eastern Kazakhstan. At the age of 3, I moved to the Almaty region, Kargali village. I went to a gymnasium. When I was in the 5th grade, I began to study programming. I participated in the Olympiads. I was born in Almaty. The only thing I can remember about my childhood is that I participated in gymnastics in endless competitions. I used to take 3rd or 4th place. From the 1st to the 6th grade, I went to school number 123, named after Ahmet Yasawi. Later, I entered the Kazakh-Turkish Lyceum. The selection process was very difficult. At the Kazakh-Turkish Lyceum, I discovered my inner potential.
And then bronchioles, and the last part of the lung is alveoli.
You can probably say my talent, because they sent me to the Biology Olympiad, where we did a very interesting research. Later, I was offered a scholarship at the Nazarbayev University to study biology. Why? Because I won the Olympiad's school competitions. Sultan Musa Khan is a graduate student of the Nazarbayev University who works in the field of cellular and molecular biology. He is a member of the project to study the effect of chemicals on cancer cells. He passed scientific internships at the University of Boston in the USA and at the University of Xiamen in China. Nazarbayev University is an excellent platform for development. I think they have an excellent bachelor's program. The most important thing is that we can evaluate the courses. For example, we can write a characteristic letter and say that we do not need the course because it is some kind of non-qualitative course, and we need another one. At the Nazarbayev University, they do everything to get best professors and open courses.
So I actually have to look it up whether it fits as well.
I entered the International University of Information Technology and studied there. Since I did not have enough money, I started to develop websites as a freelancer. I began working. I was dealing with websites, applications, and I developed virtual games. But all the same, I was interested in working with equipment. I had basic knowledge of programming and I began to improve it there, and I became one of the best students on the course. Maulen Bekturganov is 23 years old. He is a programmer who graduated from the International University of Information Technologies. He's the founder of M Bionics Company. Maulen specializes in the production of bionic prostheses. When I was a 4th-year student, I came across the devices that were put on the forearm and they read the impulses of the muscles in the person's arm. We can take and see the data. I came up with the idea of creating an automated hand that would repeat gestures after the other hand. Then I got the idea that you can use those devices as a prosthesis. In 2015, I applied for participation in the contest where I presented my idea and won the first grant, 500,000 tenge. I spent the money on equipment, experiments, and testing. When I started the first project, it was our volunteering, the synthesis of our vaccine against herpes. The project seemed to be cool. Like, wow, I was a refresher and I got engaged in such a project. Well, it was cool. Later, I started working with the stem cells, and after that, I started working with cancer cells. What is cancer? Cancer is just a cell in which a lot of mutation has accumulated. Because of this, the cells close some regulatory processes. And the cell begins to multiply there. They die and make a tumor. Then they migrate all over the body. We study how a cell attaches to a substrate and spreads.
Такой рак. Рак — это просто, там, скажем, клетка, в которой накопилось очень много мутаций. Из-за этого там некоторые регуляторные процессы в клетке замыкают, и клетка начинает...
It is very important because perhaps by this process, the cells metastasize in the body, because they can move along the bloodstream attached to the walls of the vessel or to other structures.
Потому что именно этим процессом, возможно, там...
We simulate this process under the conditions of microscopy. We study them.
крепляться, там, скажем, к стенкам сосуда или другим, да, структурам, которые есть. Этот процесс мы имитируем в условиях микроскопии. Мы это изучаем. Я инкубирую, то есть я добавляю яд, держу их час, а потом...
Incubate them, that is, add toxicant, keep them for an hour, and 2 hours later I watch what happens. I check each case, and I have to document everything, and then using different methods, like statistics and different programs, I have to find something in common. This is scientific work, when you constantly look for patterns for the sake of patterns.
Что-то общее. Это и есть научная работа, искать бесконечно паттерны ради паттернов.
We have developed 5 versions of bionic prosthesis. The first version is the one that was developed in my 4th year at university. That was an automated hand that imitated gestures.
Люди с ограниченными возможностями.
People with disabilities could not use it. It was not even meant for them. There was another version, more focused on people with disabilities. I mastered that prosthesis.
Людей с ограниченными возможностями, но управлял этим протезом я. То есть сенсоры подключались ко мне.
That is, the sensor was connected to me. It was a demo version. I cannot say that it was so reliable. It was some kind of adapter between the robotic arm and a quality prosthesis. I mean, we looked at the concept and the advantages of existing analogs. After that, a new version was developed that was controlled by impulses of muscles.
Уже существующих аналогов. Затем была разработана новая версия, которая управлялась уже импульсами мышц.
Как я понимаю науку?
How do I understand science? It is a method, a tool that man has devised for himself to study the world. It should be objective. There's a certain methodology, certain equipment. Everything should be clear, not at the philosophy level. I imagine this as a filter on a camera, like on Instagram. You use a filter and you look at the world through this filter. The filter distorts the world, and you study this distorted world. Next, we change the filter to art. It is more subjective. There are many interpretations. They watch from different angles.
Там уже многие интерпретации. Там уже смотрят с разных углов.
I try to find a point where art and science are connected. There is a certain point. They all like the exact opposites, but there are some bridges between them. I would like to reveal art with the help of scientific methods. There are a lot of different processes inside the cell. It looks and reminds people of space.
Сейчас делаю это с помощью научных методов. Есть такой термин, называется клеточный.
There is such a term called cellular microcosm. There are a lot of different processes inside the cell that remind people of space. This cell is cancer, a form of brain cancer. This is one big cell and it looks like a galaxy, a universe, Pleiad. A little bit of focus was lost and this is such an interesting element, and the structures that we study are called comets. And here you can see so much beauty, philosophy, and art. The cell is going to be divided here, and it is the core. That is, the cell simply rests, it is not divided. And the shot, of course, is not scientific, just was made during the optimization of our experiments, but it's so colorful.
И, кадр, конечно, это, то есть не научный, он просто получился во время оптимизации наших экспериментов, но он такой красочный.
Our supervisor has called this, let's say, picture sunflowers. Here is a person who does not have a hand. The part that has remained is called the stump of the hand. Electromyographic sensors are connected to it. When a person strains it, it has a potential difference. That is, the sensors are directly connected to the places where the muscles move. We can see this and pass this data on to the controller. The controller sees that this muscle has been tense and gives the command to the motor that performs this gesture. If certain signals were received, then consequently it is necessary to make a certain gesture. And due to it, a person can control a prosthesis.
И относительно этого человек может управлять протезом.
Я вот недавно лежал и смотрел вот так видео.
Not so long ago, I was lying and watching a video. It is more convenient than watching like this. It's like a cane that holds a mobile phone.
Это кого-то
такая троська вот держит вот этот мобильник.
Чем мы сейчас занимаемся, состоит из 3.
The work that we are doing now consists of 3 parts. It is programming, design, and electronics. As for design, it is necessary to study 3D modeling. Different engineering knowledge is needed. As for software, you need to know how to program on controllers, what to consider, etc. As for electronics, you need to know the electronics itself, how to install it, etc. I mean, these are 3 different professions. I studied all this, and I was a designer, a programmer, and an engineer at once. That is, everything came by experience. Many people immediately say, oh, you need doctors, etc. Doctors do not understand the electromyography, that is, how electronics work, how it can be counted. The main difficulty is in the design and development, that is, how to make artificial prosthesis that is not worse than foreign analogs. Abroad, people could wear a metal arm without a glove and be proud of it. In our country, people do not want to show a lack of a hand. Aesthetics of the prosthesis is needed to make it look like a human hand. I mean, this should be taken into account too.
Как сделать протезы не хуже зарубежных аналогов.
Каждая форма рака – это уникальный.
Each form of cancer is unique. For this unique kind of cancer, it is necessary to find a unique treatment. We cannot treat all kinds of headaches by aspirin, if we roughly create such an analogy. Because of this, now our university is developing personalized medicine, and our project is meant to open this individualization, to lead to a personalized medicine.
Индивидуализацию привести, больше, так сказать, больше раскрыть, что ли, привести к персонализированной медицине.
Установили 1 протез.
We have installed 1 bionic prosthesis. We're also finishing the installation of 2 bionic prosthesis and 1 traction prosthesis for a child. That is, we have already installed 4 prosthesis.
Мы уже устанавливаем.
Долго. Быстро.
Разработали 5-ю версию.
We have developed the 5th version. We took into account all the disadvantages and what we wanted to achieve in the design. We've changed the mastering system. That is, a person can manage this prosthesis the next day. We installed this prosthesis for a boy who had the 4th version, and now he wears it. We're now developing the 6th version of the prosthesis that can go to the mass production.
4-я версия. Сейчас он ее носит. Основные производители являются...
The main producers are Germany and Great Britain. They have bionic prosthesis ranging from $30,000. Our prosthesis costs from 1 million tenge.
От миллиона тенге.
Поднимай, не бойся. Видишь, да, локоть. Теперь опусти, просто такой.
Нам надо как-то популяризировать.
We need to popularize science, to reveal science for people, to create platforms. For example, in Moscow, there are scientific cafes. You could do the same in Kazakhstan, for example. In order that any person could come, there would be a scientist who would explain to the person what a mutation is. Such a small platform, like a walking encyclopedia.
Просто расскажешь, что такое мутация, что такое рак. Такая маленькая площадка, так скажем, живая библиотека.
Надеемся, что вы сегодня заведете здесь новые полезные знакомства.
Нельзя терять время, сейчас мы молодые.
No one should waste time. Now we are young, we should use every day productively. At the age of 50 or 60, we'll look back and ask ourselves if we regret about what we did. Why do we not do what we want? Young people look at foreign experience, foreign success. Elon Musk, Facebook, etc. Others just work for someone. They're afraid to take risks. They do not believe in themselves. They think that everything should happen right away. No, it should not work for a few years. It is normal. It is necessary to enjoy the process. It is not a result, but a process that matters.
Процесс результата, не результат, а именно процесс.
Хочется поставить себе...
I want to set new goals for myself. I want to compete with other doctoral students at the international level. That is, to raise the bar.
на международном уровне, то есть повышать себе планку.
Сейчас я не получаю.
I do not earn much money now. I do not earn millions, but I have enough money for the developments. I invest all my money in development, buying expensive motors and expensive sensors. This is the contribution to the future, and it's great.
То есть вклад в будущее, и это здорово.
Within the framework of his thesis, Sultan Musa Khan will continue his research at Brock University in Canada. Further, he is going to obtain a PhD degree and carry out research in the field of oncology and virology. Maulen Bekturganov entered the national list of 100 new persons of Kazakhstan in 2017. Today, he is working on improving the bionic prosthesis he has created. He plans to begin developing new prostheses as well as simulators, exoskeletons, and other biotechnological products that will help people with disabilities start a new life.